U.S. President Barack Obama has thanked President Xi Jinping for China's role in helping secure Saturday's landmark climate agreement. The two leaders spoke on the phone Sunday night. The goal of the deal is to curb climate change and prevent its disastrous effects. But some are questioning whether the deal has enough force behind it. CCTV's Roee Ruttenberg explains.
Yet another major storm has hit the Philippines. On Monday, Typhoon Meller slammed the archipelago nation's central islands, bringing with it winds of more than 200 kilometers per hour. More than 700,000 people have fled to safer grounds amid fears of giant waves, flooding, and landslides. Their shelters a stark contrast to the Paris plenary hall, where just 48 hours earlier, world leaders were agreeing on a plan to combat climate change and its potentially devastating consequences. Speaking in New York on Monday, the UN Secretary General said the world must act fast to implement the international agreement.
I will convene a high-level signing ceremony. I'll invite as soon as possible to world leaders to come to the United Nations to sign this one, because this will be the first ever universal climate change agreement.
Germany says it has already started talking to its trade unions about ways to end its use of coal-fired power, and that its cabinet will lay out its 2050 plan by the middle of next year.
There will be statements on 2030 and 2040. Anything else would not make sense. If you want to reduce carbon emissions by 80% and up to 95% by 2050, you have to describe the steps leading up to that. You need 30 years to accomplish that.
Around the world, governments are expected to announce similar plans.
They need to make sure, for instance, that clean energy, the taxes on clean energy are a lot less than the taxes on dirty energy. So I think with that clear signal, then it's up to business leaders worldwide to rally around and help make sure that that becomes a reality.
But some say the Paris deal is too vague.
There is mention of funding, but there is no mention who is going to pay this fund, when and how, who is going to receive it, when and how.
If those details aren't cleared up, he warns, the consequences could be dire.
Displacement could be as high as 300 million by end of the century. In our calculation, that will happen even much earlier, maybe 2075 or 2070.
Each country already has its own climate pledges in place. Those that are due to expire will now have to be updated in accordance with the Paris deal. Ban Ki-moon has urged the energy industry not to stand in the way of those policies, but instead to embrace them. Roee, Ruttenberg, CCTV in Washington.